Our marketing agency recommends setting up conversions directly within Google Tag Manager, importing those into Google Analytics as key events, and then ultimately bringing most of those conversions into Google Ads. The issue is that a lot of people get intimidated with Google Tag Manager and they set up conversion tracking within Google Analytics. A lot of times the data just isn't as accurate and there's more thorough and better testing when doing it from Tag Manager is why we recommend this route. In this video, I'm bringing in Rachelle, a technical analyst on our team. She sets up all of our tags, all of our conversion tracking within Tag Manager. So she's just going to walk you through the process. I'm asking questions along the way to help you better understand, but hopefully after watching this video, you will feel confident in how to set up conversion tracking within Google Tag Manager. Okay, I'm here with Rachelle. She's one of the technical analysts at the Media Captain, and we're going to walk you through an example. That's the way that is easy to visually see. The first thing that you need to do is you need to identify the conversions. It seems simple, but so many people overlook this. And for Eastside Dermatology, what we want to track for a conversion, if you look above their logo, you'll see a Columbus phone number and a Hilliard phone number. So we're going to track both of those within Tag Manager. We're also on the Contact Us page, and scroll down, Rachelle. And right there, you'll see that we want to track if somebody submits a contact form. So really, there's 3 conversions that we're going to track. There's 2 different phone numbers, and there's 1 contact form submission. Rachelle will now walk us through how to set that up. Okay, so the first thing that Rachelle is going to do is she needs to make sure that this is all synced to Google Analytics 4 when we're setting up conversions within Tag Manager.
Sure. So when you're in your analytics account, you're going to see this menu on the side. You're going to want to go to data collection and modification. You're going to want to go to data streams. You want to click on your data stream and then copy your measurement ID here. And then in Tag Manager, if you go to variables, we're going to set a variable for this measurement ID. That way we don't have to copy and paste every time into our new tags.
What is it? What is a variable?
A variable is just something that is user defined. So like it could be a piece of code, an event name, something that you can plug into a tag or a trigger that you're building.
Okay. So this is where the syncing happens. It happens with Google Analytics 4 under variables.
Yes, because we're going to use this variable when we go to create the configuration tag, which I'll show you in a minute. So we're going to use this constant option here. And that's just us setting this value, which is our measurement ID that we can use across all the events that we create. So I'm just going to paste our measurement ID there and click save. I'm going to go back to tags here. I'm going to click add new, and this is where we'll actually add the tag that's going to connect your website with Google Analytics.
So you start in variables and set it up, and then the connection happens within tags, and you need that ID to obviously connect all of that.
Correct. I'm about to show you why it's just easier to create a variable when you're like making a bunch of conversions, because if you click here, click on tag configuration, you click on GA4 event, instead of having to grab your measurement ID and copying and pasting every time you create a new event, you can just click this button here, click the variable you set up, and it automatically inserts it into there. So for this one, we're going to be setting up contact form submission events for GA4. And I think I may have noted before that they have a form that upon submission redirects to a thank you page. So we're going to use that thank you page as a way to track form submissions. So I'm just going to give this a name, like GTM contact form submission. I'm going to copy that real quick.
And is there any specific formatting? Like I'm seeing that you're doing the underscore. Is there anything that needs to be done for this, or you could just name it anything and that's how you go about that naming convention?
Yeah, you can do the underscores, you can do lowercase and uppercase letters, and I believe that's about it.
Okay.
So like if you don't want this all being like just one long string of text, you can separate it.
Okay.
easier to read. So I'm actually going to copy this. And when you do create an event through Tag Manager, once those events start coming in, they will automatically pull into Google Analytics. But just going over here, I like to just put them in right away. So we want to go to Data Display, Key Events. You would click New Key Event.
And really fast, Rachelle, we've written a blog on key events versus regular events, and I'll link this in the YouTube description. But the reason Rachelle is going to key events is because events are just ones that auto-populate, so it's not always accurate or relevant for your business. And the key events are the ones that are most relevant. So for Eastside Dermatology, if we only want to track the phone calls for their Hilliard and Eastside location and the contact form submission, we would do that under key events. And when you think of this at a high level, if this data is coming into analytics and you're reporting on it, and if you're importing it into Google Ads and optimizing for conversions, you want to make sure it's relevant, which is why you add it as a key event and not an event.
Correct. So we take that new name and we just click save here, and then it'll come into our list. But like I said, like this is, you don't have to do this. So I'm going to start coming in, but I just like to do that so everything's there from go. Going back to Google Tag Manager, we're now going to set our trigger. I talked about that being a thank you page view.
In Rachelle, for the trigger, like, okay, you submit a contact form, and to be able to track it, you route it to a page that's Eastside Dermatology /thank-you, right?
Yes.
And that makes sense. But where do you set that up? Because this is just populating in here, so I'm assuming it had already been set up. Where is that thank you page set up?
The thank you page is set up on the website. And then whatever, if you use a form plugin like WP Forms or something, there's often an option to set a redirect.
No, I get that part, but did you go into the trigger to create the thank you page, or just
to create the trigger? That's what I'm about. There is one created here, but for the video, I'm going to create a new one. So
okay.
Click the new trigger button, and then you can just name it like thank you page view. The trigger configuration. You can do initialization. So when the page is at the very start of loading, and then you can go to, you want to go to page URL or page path, either could work. And then we do contains, and then you would just add in the slug of the URL. So thank you. So
Eastside Dermatology only has like one thank you confirmation page, but if you are a business and let's say they wanted to track the contact form conversions for their Eastside location versus Hilliard, you would create different triggers for the different thank you pages, and then within Google Analytics, you would be able to report on all of that.
Correct. You can also do like the full URL if you want. At that point, you'd have to change your condition to equals the full URL. But I just do like contains, and then I usually do the slug, and that does the trick. So I'm going to click save here. We're going to click save again. Okay, to review, we set up our GA4 event. We named it contact form submission. We implemented our variable, the Google Analytics GA4 measurement ID. We have our event name, and we have our trigger, which is a thank you page view. So now we're going to want to set up our actual Google Analytics configuration tag. And that's how your website and GA4 will be connected with the Google Tag Manager code. So we're going to click Google Analytics. We're going to click Google Tag. You're going to click here, and then click the variable that we created with the measurement ID. And then you can leave triggering as is and just click save. And then if we go to preview, we can go back and go to the thank you page to make sure both of those tags fire off. So the website will populate, and we can see now that our GA4 configuration and our GA4 event, they both fired here for the contact form submission.
And that's one of the reasons that we like or that we recommend setting up conversions within Tag Manager is because you can track you could fire off in real time to see if it's working. And what we've seen with a lot of clients is that when we used to set it up in Google Analytics 4, the data just always seems skewed. So this way is just more, it's a more confident way of setting it up because you can do that thorough testing.
Yeah, so if we go back, we can exit out of our testing pages. Now we're going to set up an event for phone number clicks. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. If we go to Eastside Dermatology here, they have 2 phone numbers. A lot of the times clients like to track them separately. And what we're actually going to track is actual, like when people click this and they can open an app to call the business. So we're going to separate.
Well, open an app, or if they're calling on mobile, it's going to call it directly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to Google Tag Manager. We're going to click new because we're going to create a new tag here. And we're going to give this one a name. So G4 event, phone number clicks.
Eastside. I'd give it the Eastside just so we differentiate the number.
Yeah, I was going to do Columbus here.
Columbus, yeah, that's fine.
And then we're going to click tag configuration, Google Analytics, G4 event. We're going to click this. Click Google Analytics measurement ID is our variable that we had set before, and give this one a name, just like we did with the contact form submission. So this we can do like Columbus phone number click. Copy that. And then we can click the trigger. And then we're going to click the blue plus sign to add a new trigger. We're going to give this trigger a name. We're going to click into trigger configuration. And then for this one, we're going to do a click on all elements containing this phone number. So we don't want it to trigger on all clicks. We want it to trigger on some clicks. So you can do this a couple of different ways. Some people do the click text or the click URL. For example, if you did click URL, you could do just something like the start of the telephone number. But in this instance, since there are 2 different phone numbers, we're going to want to go with click text so we can separate them out. And going back here, we can see that the Columbus phone number ends in 3222. So that's what we're going to use within our trigger here. So we have click text contains 3222. And we're going to save that.
And I think one of the cool things of when you do this is that by getting that number in there, if that 322 phone number is on the header, if it's on the contact page, anytime somebody clicks on that phone number, it's going to track throughout the site.
Yeah, exactly. So we have that set up. We're going to click save. We're going to go back and reopen the site so we can test that conversion. Click connect. Go back here. We can see it hasn't fired yet because we haven't made a move on the website. So we're going to go back to the website. We're going to click that. We're going to go back and we can see now that we've clicked that link, GA4 event for phone number clicks to Columbus have fired. So we are all good there.
All right. And so then my next question, and I think we already covered this, but now it's automatically, you've set up the conversion for the contact form submission, you set it up for the call tracking, and these are now automatically getting imported as key events.
Yeah, when people start taking actions on the site, the data is a little delayed. I will say that it will start coming to analytics automatically, but like I said before, you can go in here, you can add the key event name just so you have everything in your list. You can see what you've set up if you want. If we actually go
really fast, do you need to set that up, or does it automatically pull in as a key event?
It automatically pulls in.
Okay, and so what you did there is if you just want to match the naming convention, you could do that.
Yes. So, and if you can actually check, if you go to home here, I just made that click. We can actually go to the real-time report in Google Analytics. And it might be just a little delayed, but we can see here that it's already come in. So these were my 2 phone number clicks here.
Very, very cool. Is there anything else, Rachelle, you want to, I mean, we don't need to do the second phone number. I think that gives people the gist of setting it up within Tag Manager. Is there anything else of just navigating Tag Manager or anything that you want to add, or did you cover it all?
Yeah, once you're done making your changes, I think one of the most important things that people forget to do is click submit. So you publish your changes here. You can give it a version name, you can give it a description if you want to. You can click publish, we'll click skip or continue. And now our changes are live.
Great. And I think one last thing I want to add is that we typically, as an agency, will set up our phone call conversions directly within Google Ads, because Google Ads gives you the ability to only count a conversion. It creates a dynamic number and gives you the ability to only track a conversion if the call has been over 30 seconds or 60 seconds. So we like bringing in the phone call clicks into analytics, and then we will import those key events into Google Ads. But for the phone calls, we don't carry over the phone call clicks from Tag Manager to analytics to Google Ads. We set those up directly within Google Ads just to get more accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
So Rachelle, in closing, somebody watching this video, they might feel confused or intimidated because you went through a lot of steps. You've done this a lot. What's your overall advice?
My overall advice is to not be scared. The first time I ever came into Tag Manager, I was horrified. I was like, what am I doing? So it takes a couple tries. There's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get in here, you'll realize it's not as hard as it is made out to be. For the most part, Google Tag Manager does walk you through it. Like, you have to name it. You can see you have to set a tag configuration. It already has a list of tag types for you. Just give it a couple tries. And then I think the biggest piece of advice that I give is test and test and test. Don't just set it and then hope it works. You're going to want to test and then kind of troubleshoot and figure out what's working. And that's the best piece of advice I can give for somebody who's trying to learn. So.
Okay. And then just going back to the left-hand side, it seems like you started, just to recap, you start in variables, just go through like the 1, 2, 3 of where you go.
Yeah, I would start in variables, and you can see here, well, this is the new one I created for this. So that's my user defined variable, which just contains the measurement ID. And the reason, again, for that is so I don't have to copy and paste it every time I'm creating a new event, because we already have that variable set and we can just choose it from our list.
So it goes from variable to tag, and that's pretty much the 2 places where you want to be.
Yeah, and when you're setting up a tag and you need to set up a trigger, you can do it right in that screen. It'll take you where you need to go. Okay. Or you can go to triggers and create it beforehand.
But if you create the tag, it allows for you to essentially add the trigger within there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. And if you are, there's a lot to follow. So if you need support, you could contact the media captain and we'd be happy to help out. And Rachelle, thanks for taking time out of your day.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.